Good evening guys, and welcome back to Halloweek Day 4. Happy Halloween! We finally made it to Halloween. I hope you all having a lovely day and night, whether you're trick-or-treating or whether you're just staying in and watching scary movies. Have a great time. Today I would like to do a book review for you. I've just recently finished a very scary book, Stephen King's Pet Sematary. Now, this book, some say it's his creepiest yet. Some of his stories are quite out there in terms of, for example, The Black Tower has supernatural elements to it, and of course it is about a clown that isn't human, I'll say that. But this story, it's very creepy because it could really happen. At the very start of the book, it describes Stephen King's mind at the time and the state that he was in when he wrote this. And he's very right in terms of, he was always thinking what if, but for the worse. So I'll start off by saying this book, we first meet Lewis, who's the father of the perfect family that this story narrates around. We meet Lewis as him and his family are moving into this new house, this new village in Maine. And it seems that he's got the perfect house. He's got himself, his wife, his little girl and his little boy, and his cat, who is named Churchill. Near the start of the book, he also starts his new job as a doctor at the local university hospital campus. When he was moving in, he met one of his neighbours named Judd, who is a local old man, and they become friends. He sees a sort of friendliness and a liking to Judd, and they quickly become friends. One day they notice this path going up to the woods behind Lewis's house, and Judd says, he'll show them one day what that path leads to. And he does. A little while later he takes them up the path and he shows them to his local pet cemetery, where all the kids bury their dead pets there. Lewis thinks it's a bit creepy, but at the same time humorous. He doesn't really believe much about it, and he thinks it might be a little bit silly that there's a cemetery for pets, but he goes along with it. But then he starts having dreams warning him about this pet cemetery, about the implications, really. That's when he does a little research and he finds out that it used to be a sacred Indian burial ground for performing rituals. The story goes on, and one day, unfortunately, the beloved cat of the family, Churchill, is killed. He's run over by a lorry passing. While the family is all very upset, Lewis deals, being the man of the house, he deals with the cat's body. And he's just picking up the cat and just working out what to do with it when Judd approaches him. And he says, "Come with me, I know the exact spot where you can bury him." So Judd leads Lewis deep into the woods and says to him, "Bury the cat there in that exact spot and put a cairn on top." And that's what they did. And then the pair make the long walk back to the house, not really thinking anything more of it. But the next day, when Lewis wakes up, there's Churchill, the cat, just wandering about the house as per normal. But as we get to find out, this cat isn't quite the same as the one we buried. I mean, it's the same in the look and the name and everything, and you wouldn't think it's normally any different, but it doesn't have the same characteristics. For example, it used to want to keep itself clean and tidy all the time. This time, it doesn't care about that. It's always scruffy, it's always dirty, and when you try and pick it up and stroke him, he doesn't like it, and he growls and snarls, and he tries to get away from you as much as possible. Fast forward a few chapters, and the heartbreaker of the book happens when, unfortunately, Lewis's toddler, Gage, gets run over by a truck. As you can imagine, Lewis is distraught, as is the rest of the family. And he's seen what the Pet Sematary can do, how it can bring animals back to life. And he considers doing it about Gage. So that's exactly what he does. Lewis carries Gage deep into the woods to where the Pet Sematary was, near where he buried Churchill, and he buries Gage. Gage comes back, but as with all creatures that are buried in that Pet Sematary, he doesn't come back the same. And I will leave it at that point, and I won't tell you any more for spoilers, but you'll have to read just to see what happens. Does he turn out that he's actually okay? Does he turn out to be evil? You'll have to read and find out. I read this book very quickly actually. It's very much a easy read in terms of the pace. Some of them is really nice short chapters as well, which kind of hook you in. It's also very typical of some of Stephen King's literature in terms of there's something weird about this town, but the local people just accept it. Judd and presumably all the other people know about the Pet Sematary and they just accept it. Nobody questions it, nobody does anything about it. It's just a part of life. This novel really is a lot creepier than Stephen King's normal stuff. Just because it's so relatable to real life. It has a big classic theme of death to it. The mechanics of death, the psychological aspects of death, everything about it. It's a topic that we all know and accept, but we don't really want to think about it that much, and this relies heavily on it. Including when one of the main parts that the Stephen King really gets and really goes into is when Gage is run over, and there's a lot of conflict in Lewis's mind as to whether to bury Gage in the Pet Sematary or not. He's seen what it's done with Churchill, and he thinks that it might happen to Gage, that he might not come back right. But at the same time, realistically, if we were given another chance with people that we love the most, we don't consider taking it. We have to admit. There's also conflict in Judd's mind as well. Or maybe not conflict, but regret. He knows Lewis is thinking of this, of what to do with Gage, with his body. And he deeply regrets telling Lewis about this. At the end of the day, this novel really is, it says at the top, iconic terror from the #1 best-selling writer. And it really is iconic. It's got all your perfect horror story parts to it. It's got your intro into a new place where the audience has never been and the family in the story have never been. It's got the perfect, seemingly perfect family. And you see them going about their daily life. And then usually something happens in the middle of the story. Some turning point. And then gradually the pace picks up until there's usually something horrific at the end. So if you haven't read it already, go and pick this up. I recommend it. It's a really good read. Keeps you on your toes. And that is it from me for today. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you back here for tomorrow's final day of Halloweek. Bye!